Today on Hitch20, how Hitchcock's film techniques can influence filmmakers of today.
Hitchcock was great at kind of letting the audience know enough information where we were kind of ahead of the characters.
His TV show was also a sandbox for him to play with new storytelling ideas.
He would imply it in your mind. You knew there was something violent went on, but he didn't have to show you. Like in today's movies, you'll see the blood and the gore.
What can filmmakers of today learn from his visual language of cinema and his manipulation of the audience? We examine the episode Revenge of Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
That's him.
Much has been said about the 52 feature films that Hitchcock directed, but nobody talks about the 20 television episodes he also directed.
Good evening. I'm Alfred Hitchcock.
The Hitch20.
Funding for Hitch20 is provided by GLIDECAM, world-class camera stabilizers, and by Production Minds, the all-in-one tool for creative collaboration and production management, and by the Offing David DVD. Trouble is afoot. We also enjoy the inspiration of subscribers like you. Thank you.
A television show, like a souffle, reflects the taste of the person who selects and mixes the ingredients. It matters a great deal, for example, whether onions or garlic are used, and when the arsenic is added. Alfred Hitchcock.
In 1955, television was still in its infancy, but it was so popular, half of the homes in the United States already had one. Iconic film director Alfred Hitchcock decided to jump into this new form of home entertainment and start his own series. By this time, at the age of 54, he had already directed 43 feature films. He'd been a directing legend in Europe, a pioneer when sound first came to the screen, and had spent a decade reshaping Hollywood suspense. It's not surprising that his cinematic style carried over into his first attempt at television. For this new series called Alfred Hitchcock Presents, he brought in longtime friend Joan Harrison, the writer of many of his classics in the 40s. Harrison would produce the series, overseeing operations and hiring writers and directors for the weekly episodes. The debut episode, Revenge, would be directed by Hitchcock himself. It is the first of 20 episodes of television that Hitchcock personally directed with his magic touch. But what can filmmakers of today do to be more Hitchcockian? One of the first things a director has to decide is where to set the story and how to lead the audience into these settings. Hitchcock would begin his films in sunshine, playfully and often comically.
Look at the opening sequence of Revenge. First we see the ocean and the highway going by the ocean and some trailers. And then there's this neat shot. It's a low shot and you see the front of the car, kind of foreboding, kind of saying there's something going to happen here. He's established that this is a nice, happy community, but something's not quite right.
He was very interested in the interplay between moods and creating ironies between laughter and tension. He said the more happy-go-lucky the setting, the greater kick you can get from the sudden introduction of drama. He said directors should focus first on the fripperies of people and the lightness with which they live. This is how he made sure the audience liked the characters before they were thrown into a suspenseful situation. Just before the crisis appears in Revenge, Hitchcock spends extra time on Carl's journey home and his comical struggle with the shopping bags. This provides stark contrast to what he finds as he enters the trailer.
Elsa! Hey, I'm home. Hey, let me in!
So Hitchcock was great at kind of letting the audience know enough information where we were kind of ahead of the characters, but at the same time, we related with the characters. We felt what the characters felt.
It was very important for Hitchcock to lead the audience through a location, guiding and controlling their knowledge. This puts the audience into the role of actively exploring, looking for clues, in this case finding the alarm clock. When we do find it, we feel a sense of payoff. We are then thankful that this man finally turns it off. A clever way of manipulating our allegiance from the very beginning. Casting is also key to audience manipulation. A good director finds actors that not only bring a character to life, but someone who can lure the audience.
And Vera Miles was a very beautiful blonde who Hitchcock was hoping to replace Grace Kelly, who had just married Princess Rainier of Monaco and had moved to a principality. So there was a slot vacant for the Hitchcock blonde. Hitchcock hoped that Vera Miles would take Kelly's place and literally started to groom her for stardom.
He tried her out on TV, and it worked out so well that he signed her to a 5-year exclusive contract on the spot.
Hitchcock believed that audiences of his time were more receptive to blonde women for the purposes of suspense. He said blondes had an air of mystery and unpredictability. Audiences would find it easier to develop curiosity and sympathy for them than, say, a brunette.
But what is undoubtable from her very first role with Hitchcock in Revenge is that fierce intelligence and beauty, which is seldom witnessed in many Hitchcock females, but absolutely encapsulated by Vera Miles' character.
To further connect audience with character, Hitchcock's camera would follow the eyes. In his point of view sequences, a character sees something off screen, he cuts to it, and then he cuts back for the reaction shot. This allows the audience to internalize the character's curiosities and desires. Frances Bavier was cast as a friendly neighbor, Mrs. Ferguson. In the first half of the episode, she builds trust in the audience, but in this scene, her glances and reactions generate suspicion around Mrs. Ferguson as a possible red herring.
It's almost as if she wants to say something, maybe warn her, like, you shouldn't dress like this out in the open. But she certainly shows her disapproval, and that's a little bit of foreshadowing right there.
The underlying unease we feel is there because following our objectifying of Vera Miles in her bathing suit, we're then implicated in the crime of her assault.
One thing about this episode that I really enjoy is you almost get fooled because we believe that Elsa is not crazy when she sees the guy. And Carl goes in, you're almost cheering him on like, yeah, get that guy, get that guy. And at that moment, at the end of the movie, when she sees another person, we don't even see that person. She just looks off to the side of the road and says, there he is, there he is. At that moment, we feel like Carl feels, like, oh no, I really screwed up this time.
Just like a painter chooses brushes and colors, directors must find the best shots to convey the emotions they want the audience to feel. Hitchcock's cinematic language emphasizes hands, feet, and objects. Feet give us a sense of place and safety, in this case, a lack of safety. Hands can show anxiety and shock. She clings to the flower in paralyzing fear. As Carl's hands touch and hold the murder weapon, we can feel his uneasiness.
One of my favorite scenes is the kill scene in this. Hitchcock didn't like to show violence, so he would imply it in your mind. You knew there was something violent went on, but he didn't have to show you. Like in today's movies, you'll see the blood and the gore and the actual killing. The scene here shows Carl going into the hotel room of the salesman, and we see the hefty wrench in his hand. He has a hefty open-end wrench, and he opens the door, and we're almost voyeuristically looking in. We're looking through the door, and as he steps through, we're looking in the mirror of the bureau. And then they kind of walk out of frame, and then you see the shadow of Carl's arm going way up 4 times.
By using this long, single take, Hitchcock is able to hold on to the tension of the moment. It creates a sense of chilling realism. The lack of music score allows us to hear the upbeat music from the hotel lobby, creating an ironic contrast. Again, happy versus serious.
Funding for Hitch20 is made possible by GLIDECAM Industries. Filmmakers around the world know that GLIDECAM stabilizers give you the smoothest flowing video with easy operation. Both professional filmmakers and amateur movie makers alike can enjoy fluidity and grace in their cameras. It's no wonder GLIDECAM is the name and future of camera stabilizers.
Do you wish you could spend less time managing your production and more time being creative? Tired of digging through email threads to find those recce's or Excel sheets? We have the answer for you. Production Minds platform is an all-in-one solution for your pre-production needs. And PMP will have everything related to your production in one central place. PMP is designed so you're following the natural workflow of any script-based production.
It might seem counterintuitive, but an important Hitchcock editing technique is knowing when not to cut. Lingering on a single shot maintains a feeling of tension. In this case, it intensifies the feeling of romance between Carl and Elsa. Cutting away to another angle would immediately dissipate that feeling. Later in the episode, Elsa is in a state of shock, and Hitchcock holds the extreme close-up on her face so we feel her uncomfortable intensity to the fullest.
I scream. I choked.
She suffers a breakdown, and then she's lost in a fog of depression. And we see several signature Hitchcock shots, close-ups of her face frozen, her eyes gone cold, staring into nothingness.
Some other techniques to look for in this episode are the sound of a ticking clock to enhance tension, and a profile shot of Vera Miles, a great angle to use to show someone is lying or suspicious. Revenge starts out the new series with a strong Hitchcockian touch. With his quirky characters, high tension, and a clever twist, it's a great study for today's filmmakers. It can surely help directors of today in their choices relating to the emotion of visual storytelling.
Join us at borgus.com for more on Hitchcock and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Read our Hitchcock ebook and watch our Hitchcock homage film, Offing David.